Hi there, Mouseketeers. Welcome to the Disneyland Beat, where our toes tap to a Disneyland drum and we always whistle while we work.
Animatronic figures have been a huge part of the Disney parks since their inception. The Disney Company single-handedly advanced their technology in the 1960s with the development of the Abraham Lincoln figure and Walt Disney's Enchanted Tiki Room, moving them from the background to headlining attraction figures, capable of amazement, sophisticated movement, synchronized sound, and immersive storytelling.
Today, we are going to take a trip through both parks at the Disneyland Resort and pick our favorite animatronic figures. We will focus on how complex and realistic the movement for each one is versus how impactful and poignant each overall experience is as well. If you enjoy the video, please like and consider subscribing to our channel. All right, everybody, here we go!
Number 12, the bathing elephant from the Jungle Cruise. When the Jungle Cruise opened, it was considered the height of technology at the park. The park was full of animatronics like the ones on this ride in 1955. Animatronics that might be considered simple by today's standard. Just a few moves back and forth, up and down. The Jungle Cruise had a sister ride too, the Mine Train Through Nature's Wonderland in Frontierland, where a train or mules or wagons pulled guests around impressive scenery loaded with rudimentary Western American animal-based animatronics. In the Jungle Cruise, the Sacred Elephant Bathing Pool started out with just a few elephants, but grew in the ride's first years to include many occupants. The most sophisticated animatronic on the ride is the bathing young elephant, whose complex movements express how joyful he is in receiving his refreshing cool shower. Go ahead and snap a pic. He's wearing his trunk.
Number 11, Mr. Potato Head, Toy Story Midway Mania. Carnival barker Mr. Potato Head is really cool, and he stands outside of the Toy Story Midway Mania attraction, beckoning guests into the ride. As if they needed the marketing. This ride usually has a 45-minute or longer standby ride time. It's really big, has projected animated eyes, and great movement. Like its brother Buzz, who also tends the queue of a Pixar interactive shooter ride, its curtain is often closed. That's right. Both animatronics have built-in curtains they can draw anytime they go down, which is obviously often. Mr. Potato Head is famous for a really slick move. He takes out his ear, something that I imagine is pretty darn complex to pull off. Unfortunately, he doesn't always get it back in the hole every time, and there are lots of videos of him dropping the thing. Hopefully, when that happens, he gets to hear some interesting conversations.
Number 10, Jose the Parrot and Walt Disney's Enchanted Tiki Room. During a concept meeting, Walt pushed the expectation for the parrot figures farther than ever before, insisting that they have expandable chests so the audience could actually see them breathing. Inspired by a sweater that Walt was wearing that day, a clever Imagineer had the idea of making the expandable chests using cashmere, and it worked out great. Still done to this day. Jose, Fritz, Michael, and Pierre are the finest animatronic birds in the flock, with tons of servo motors inside of them to create lots of movement options. The original animatronics were controlled by huge computers housed in a central control room under the stage, and it apparently produced a lot of heat, which is why the Tiki Room is the first building to be air-conditioned at Disneyland. Jose was voiced by Walt's friend and the Frontierland star Wally Bogue, and it is noted as being his favorite parrot.
Number 9, Ursula in Ariels' Undersea Adventures. Ariels' Undersea Adventures, which has a lot of animatronics, has one standout for me. Ursula fills her own room, or cave, where she poses quite the imposing figure at 7 or 8 feet tall. Her face is very articulate and impressive as she casts her spell on Ariel. The Omnimovers bring you in very close proximity to the huge, singing Ursula as she seems to revel in her evil mischief. It's quite a memorable moment. Honorable mentions. We're going to actually do a lot of these, 6 in fact, as there are literally hundreds of animatronics to choose from, and it was kind of tough, so this was our way of whittling it down.
The Goat on Big Thunder Mountain Railroad. This really shouldn't be on the list, with so many more technologically advanced figures being looked over. We don't even have a representative here from Splash Mountain with its Old America Sings figures, or anybody from Pooh, or even most of the Fantasyland dark rides. So why this rudimentary goat? Well, it's opinion and it's personal, but Big Thunder is more than a roller coaster to me because of its great show scenes and wonderful thrills. The most fun and innocent being the second lift hill, in which the mountain animals get involved, including a goat chewing dynamite. This goat just fills me with joy every time I see him, and I look forward to it on each ride. Maybe it's because I had a fantastic goat named Gruff growing up, but I never miss a chance to wave and say, "Hey there, goat," every time I swing around the corner.
Jack Sparrow in Pirates of the Caribbean. Jack Sparrow appears several times throughout the town, and many of the animatronic figures are really well done. Much like with the presidents, we're creating someone who is real, so the challenge is a bit greater and is well met. Stylistically, he doesn't always fit with the exaggerated characters in the remainder of the ride, as he is a bit more real, but it all somehow works. And we can't let this go by without pointing out that the Jack in the treasure room at the end still has crossed eyes. No judgment, but it does seem odd that this particular animatronic has never been fixed. Maybe it's the one imperfection left in an otherwise perfect ride.
Number 8, C-3PO from Star Tours. While DJ Rex is a favorite and we're so glad he's back at Oga's Cantina, having C-3PO as a pilot just lends a sense of trust that makes Star Tours really work. And it makes it, well, more Star Wars. George Lucas is very involved with this ride and has been very generous with the park well before selling his company to them. R2-D2 and C-3PO from the actual films, the actual props used, are incorporated into this attraction because he wanted to make it as authentically Star Wars as possible. George is an advocate of making C-3PO the pilot, and that android, C-3PO, its movement, his movement as a pilot is very faithful to his movement in the films, and it's really very, very well done.
Number 7, BB-8 in Rise of the Resistance. I have to think that creating a rolling, spherical droid is quite a challenge. I'm very impressed with how much the action of BB-8 during the pre-show of Rise of Resistance mimics its action in the movie. He's just as lovable, just as fast, and his head seems to float as though in a magnetic field. Even the BB units you can build in the droid depot are super cool and very promising of in-park tech to come.
Number 6, Constance Hatchaway, The Haunted Mansion. Constance Hatchaway is more than an animatronic. She's an idea. She is probably the most dangerous character in Disneyland and wonderfully complex. At least I think so. It's just not clear to me if she did away with all of her husbands for just reasons, but I do like to think so. I see her as having a reason for her actions. That she is judge, jury, and executioner. Either way you look at it, and whatever version of her you like, she has always been one of the spookiest of the 999 haunts inside the mansion.
Number 5, Locked Up Pirates and Pirate Dog in Pirates of the Caribbean. It would be pretty easy to just say the Pirates of the Caribbean, as this ride is full of amazing animatronics from talking skulls, seagulls, and numerous pirates and townspeople. We really like the new Pirate Red, actually. When originally created, these animatronics were at once more lifelike than anything seen up to this point in history, but they were also designed to be larger than life and have very exaggerated features. It's a very interesting combination, like a living cartoon, but for me, none are more iconic than the Locked Up Pirate and Pirate Dog. The expression on these pirates' faces as they tried to coax the keys from the pirate dog left a lasting impression on me in my youth that has stuck to this day.
The Tyrannosaurus Rex from the Primordial World on the Disneyland Railroad. Walt had a truckload of dinosaurs he used in the 1964 World's Fair make the trek from Burbank to Anaheim on the back of an open truck. Must have been quite a sight. The T-Rex, king of the dinosaurs, especially in the 1950s prehistoric perception, strikes the exact pose that we loved, created during the Rites of Spring sequence from Fantasia. This huge diorama, which is part museum and part dark ride, was updated recently with some modern effects that really make the Grand Canyon and Primordial World look fantastic. The great Tyrannosaurus Rex is as impressive as ever, towering in battle over his prey.
More honorable mentions, like KYLO REN, Rise of the Resistance. all of the next generation humanoid animatronics on Batuu, including Hondo Anaka, Finn, Doc Ondar, and all the stormtroopers, have a highly realistic sense of movement not yet seen in the Disneyland parks. They are all full-body animatronics and have a very superior sense of movement to previous models. The faces are extremely detailed and realistic as well, carrying off impressive emotive dialogue. The final appearance of KYLO Ren in the new ride reminds me of both Jack Sparrow from the Shanghai Pirates ride and Elsa from Frozen Ever After, especially with his fluid, melodramatic arm movements. Kinda looks a bit like Disco Ren!
Number 4, Rocket Raccoon in Guardians of the Galaxy Mission Breakout. Rocket doesn't have much time during the pre-show to give you the exposition you need, get you excited, and somehow use humor to steady your nerves, but he pulls it all off with panache. This animatronic of the beloved character is fun, animated, and bouncy, and we even get some great tail wags. Rocket has attitude and energy to spare and is a super fun animatronic that looks great.
Number 3, Mater in Cars Land. This could almost be for any of the great animatronics in Cars Land, and pretty much every character from the first and third movie, we don't speak of part 2, is represented in either Radiator Springs Racers or as a meet and greet out in the land. Nonetheless, Mater seems to stick out much as he does in the films. His animatronic in the ride is fast and smooth and really embodies the spirit of the world's best backwards driver. Plus, you get to meet with him in the land and hear him sing tunes in his junkyard jamboree.
Number 2, Buzz Lightyear from Buzz Lightyear's Astro Blasters. This is another one of those animatronics that you could just stand there and watch for a long time. I never have quite enough time for this one, as it is stationed just past where Fast Pass and Standby converge, and the line is always moving pretty well. It has projected facial features, much like the animatronics of Frozen Ever After in Epcot. It interacts perfectly with its background with its Etch-a-Sketch space style. This animatronic sets up the premise and spirit of the ride. This is the Buzz Lightyear in his toy world, as a space ranger in Star Command. The action and story are top-notch. Unfortunately, over the years, this animatronic has its curtain pulled for maintenance far too often. I hope it's working on your next trip because it's a great element to the ride.
Final honorable mentions. The Evil Queen in the Tower in Fantasyland. Fantasyland has no shortage of animatronics, and honestly, I'm not sure if Monstro and the Pinocchio's Daring Adventure qualifies as an animatronic, or it would be on this list, but there are dozens in Fantasyland. In 1983, the Evil Queen started peering out from her tower window down to the park guests below, opening the curtains for a few seconds before retreating into her room. Her deliciously evil glare sets a mood of medieval times, danger, and fantasy.
Final honorable mentions. Abraham Lincoln in Great Moments with Mr. Lincoln. You know, it's hard not to mention this one as it really started it all. Disney's first human audio animatronic was actually almost Confucius, meant for the Chinese food restaurant that was an early concept for Walt Disney's Enchanted Tiki Room. That would have been quite different, huh? Instead, the 1964 World's Fair happened, plans changed. So the fair's visitors became the first folks to see the innovative presidential robot before he found a home on Main Street, USA. Imagineering made history here in the creation of this lifelike animatronic that dazzled early park visitors.
Number 1, Maleficent the Dragon in Fantasmic. When Maleficent transforms into a huge dragon to battle Mickey with her nightmare fantastic, it is an amazing spectacle to behold. It is a true grand finale to a stunning performance, one of our favorites in the park. The dragon rears up over 45 feet in the air, looming over Mickey as it shoots a beam of fire from its mouth, igniting the entire river before being ultimately conquered by Mickey's amazing imagination. It is completely satisfying.
Well, thanks for watching, Mouseketeers. We hope you enjoyed this top 12 list looking at some of the many awesome animatronics in the park.
We hope you've had a fantastic Disney day, and please like, subscribe, and click the bell to receive notifications so you don't miss a single Disneyland beat. See you real soon, Mouseketeers.